not picking on the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, who I like very much, but her meeting with President Clinton on that airplane was the capper for me. And I then said, you know what? The department cannot by itself credibly end this.
It was enough to raise suspicion for then FBI Director James Comey, and now former Attorney General Loretta Lynch is ready to address what happened during that 2016 TARMAC meeting.
Judicial Watch has been on the case from the beginning, so what does its president expect Lynch to say? Tom Fitton joins us now. And Tom, before we get into this, let's be clear. This is not under oath. This is under the auspices of NBC News and Lester Holt. So with that as the baseline, what do you expect to hear?
Well, she already said the meeting cast a cloud on the investigation, but she never recused herself from the investigation. Remember, the meeting took place just shortly before Hillary Clinton went through that ridiculous interview with the FBI where she said she couldn't remember things because she hit her head and other silly statements like that. And James Comey thought it was something that impacted the credibility of the Justice Department. So you have both Comey and Lynch agreeing that it impacted the credibility of the Justice Department. And I'm sure she's going to say it didn't impact her decision-making. But this is why you have independent investigations. We asked for an Inspector General investigation of this 2 years ago. Still no answers. Still getting cover-ups from the FBI and Justice Department on documents about this meeting. So this NBC News interview will be interesting. But I think she's positioning herself in front of the media now because she knows James Comey is coming out with this book and will be expanding on his concerns about the Justice Department credibility. It's interesting, Comey didn't have much in the way of credibility because of his politicization of the FBI, but her politicization of the FBI in terms of bending over backwards to protect Hillary Clinton was too much even for him.
Well, Tom, you just touched on it, but I want to get into it a little bit more. You mentioned the timing of this being a little bit peculiar, the fact that she's now coming out to speak about this before the release of the book. What do you make of the timing?
Well, Comey is bringing this all back up as a result of this big book he has coming out. And it also comes in the midst of questions about the way the Justice Department was handled in terms of its targeting of Donald Trump. You had Loretta Lynch telling James Comey, by all accounts, don't call the Clinton investigation an investigation, call it a matter, while at the same time Donald Trump is being targeted with Clinton DNC dossier information, it looks like. So I think Mrs. Lynch has a lot to answer for. And she's skated through with not much in the way of questions, either on the abuse of the FISA courts, the misuse of the dossier, and the general illicit targeting of not only Donald Trump, then his team, and then, of course, all the leaks that may have come out of her Justice Department and her FBI, for which she was responsible for after the election in 2017. Ms. Lynch has a lot to answer for.
And, Tom, just to review, what documents has the DOJ and FBI turned over to you regarding text messages on that meeting on the tarmac?
Well, the FBI first told us they had no documents. Then they told us, after we found out in another lawsuit, well, maybe we do have documents, and they gave us documents showing they're more concerned about leaks about the meeting than anything else. And then we find out, thanks to the struck page release of information that had been obstructed by the FBI and DOJ, that they were talking about the tarmac meeting. And we said, well, what about these text messages? And they basically told us to jump in a lake. It's a modified, limited hangout when it comes to this Justice Department and this FBI about FBI DOJ corruption going back into the Obama administration. And frankly, the president is right to be upset that Justice Department and FBI are not following the rule of law on transparency with regard to congressional inquiries and the Freedom of Information Act on every scandal under the sun.
Tom Fitton, I know you've done a lot of work on this. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your time this morning.